Today we play golf.
Let me show you how we do it in the pros.
Welcome to Behind the Golf Brand Podcast.
I never miss with the 7-iron.
A conversation with some of the most interesting innovators and entrepreneurs behind the biggest names in golf.
My friends with the golf clubs. I lived on the golf course. I lived on the driving range.
From pro talk
You should learn something from each and every single round you play in.
to fun from on and off the green.
Why would you play golf if you don't play it for money?
Just let me put the ball in the hole.
This is Behind the Golf Brand Podcast with Paul Liberatore.
What's up, guys? Paul from Golfers Authority. Welcome to the Behind the Golf Brand Podcast. This week I have my good friend Spencer Reynolds from Fujikura, which I am really excited to talk to him because I love Fujikura shafts. They make some of the best shafts out there, as you guys already know. This is kind of cool to see like behind the scenes at Fujikura, what they're up to. I'll tell you right now, I love the Ventus shaft. I'm going to put that on record. So without further ado, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me, Paul. Good to be here.
So where are you at? Are you at the studio? Looks like it. What is that behind
Yeah,
you?
I'm coming to you live from the Enzo studio here at Carlsbad HQ.
That's cool. What are those things behind you? What is that thing? Like cameras or something?
Camera system, baby. That's what makes Enzo.
Really?
Yeah, 10 high-speed motion capture cameras. That's kind of the heart and soul of it. And we analyze everything in a golf swing that you can possibly imagine regarding shaft performance. And it's an analytic dream come true.
That looks freaking sick. It looks like, I mean, all I can see is it behind you. And I'm like, well, that looks pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
Imagine like a YouTube video. You're like all like going really fast in it. I don't know.
That's right. It just looks like a lot of expensive stuff you don't want to break is what it really looks like.
Yeah, you're all afraid to touch it.
Yeah.
When you call
really
IT down
careful when you do
here,
that
I
up.
broke it. And then they're like, it was nice knowing you, Spencer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you're in Carlsbad, right? At
Yeah.
the headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like, what I usually like to do on the show is ask people, kind of like, are you a golf pro, or are you just a normal dude who plays golf?
I would say definitely more the latter. I am not a golf pro. In fact, I would describe my entryway into golf as just sort of I stumbled into it. It's been the best stumble I've ever had in my life, but it was not like the childhood dream or anything like that. It was just kind of a cool series of circumstances that led me to where I am, and so I'm definitely just a guy who loves golf and loves to play golf.
So where did you grow up?
Well, I'm originally from Texas, Panhandle of
What part?
Texas, small town called
Oh,
Amarillo.
Panhandle.
Yeah,
Where that is? I've been there.
Yeah, right at the tip of the state. And then I went to
I'm actually
school.
going there next month.
You're going
I
to
just thought
Amarillo?
about that.
Or you're going to
Yeah.
Texas?
I'm going to Amarillo.
I didn't know anyone
There's
went to Amarillo on purpose. That's wild.
Well, that's usually it's like a gas stop usually when you're trying to drive cross
exactly.
country.
What are you
There's
doing
some
in Amarillo?
canyon there, like some famous canyon, like
Paladuro
Devil
Canyon.
Red. What's it called?
Paladuro Canyon.
Yeah, I'm going there
Oh,
in
yeah.
April
That's a good time, man.
on a big Jeep trip, like with a
Sweet.
bunch of people. Is it cool? My friend's like, it's really
It's
cool.
awesome.
You need to go.
It's
like,
awesome. It's a lot of fun. It's like the
it like a
second
big-
largest canyon behind the Grand Canyon. It's a
For
trip.
real? It's like I never even knew it even existed.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's just outside of Amarillo. It's a blast, dude. It's really good hiking, and you'll have a good time. for
Is
sure.
it gorgeous? I mean,
really
I'd
pretty.
say-
It's really pretty.
How big is it? It's just really, it must be huge, right?
Yeah, it's pretty
like
massive.
after Grand Canyon.
It's pretty massive. You've got to do there's a few kind of like natural monuments ish, but one of the trails you got to do the lighthouse hike, which kind of goes up to this lighthouse shaped rock structure. It's about a 3-hour
That's
hike.
cool.
It's dope.
I'm so stoked.
You got to do it.
You should come with me. You should go visit your
Do
family.
a little local knowledge, show you around.
Yeah, you could be the tour guide. You'd be like, and to the left is Lighthouse Rock.
To your
And I'd be like-
left is more shrubs, and to your right is more shrubs.
I did a Jeep trip like it was probably 3 years ago. It was post-COVID or pre-COVID. We went to Moab, and Moab was sick too.
That's awesome.
And so my buddy moved to St. Louis like 2 years ago, and he's like, it's halfway between St. Louis and Phoenix. Let's just meet there. So we're going to
Sweet.
Amarillo. I think it's like
love that.
16 hours. A long ass drive, dude.
That's a trek, dude, but you'll have fun. It's going to be a good time.
So you grew up in Amarillo. What is there to do in
Yeah.
Amarillo? Oil?
Yeah,
Ranching?
Yeah, a little bit. We were kind of grew up. My dad was an engineer, so we were not like the oil or ranch family. We were just kind of like a regular sort of,
What kind of engineer?
He's an electrical engineer, so he's just
That's cool.
He's just a total nerd. I love him with all my heart, but he's a total nerd.
Says the guy with 1,000 light cameras behind him.
Yeah, right. It's fun. Isn't that funny? So like, he actually makes that joke all the time. Like when I grew up, I hated math. Like I'm just not a math guy at all. And Then when I got into club fitting, it's essentially just all analytics and math. So
Fun math,
yeah,
right? Because
I'm the only golfer in my family, like the only
Really?
ones. And yeah, no one else plays golf. It was just a very me thing. And so when I was explaining the job to my dad, he was like, so basically you just look at numbers all day. And I was like, well, kind of. And he's like, so it's basically just math. And I was kind of like, yeah.
He's all proud. He's all
Exactly.
math,
He's like this
right?
proud papa moment, right?
And like, no, Dad, this has nothing to
Yeah.
do with you. Stop.
Yeah. But no, so I grew up in Amarillo, and I got the golf bug relatively late in life. I mean, I played a little bit here and there with some friends, but like because no one in my family played golf, we weren't, like there was no country club membership. There was no like playing golf with your dad and your grandfather. I was just, no one played golf in my family. So I didn't get into it really till I went to college, and one of my roommates in college was really into it. And
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Texas Tech, so I went down to Lubbock.
Nice.
Yeah.
What year was that?
Let's see, that was 03. It was 03
You're a
to
young man.
07, yeah. Seems not that far away.
Yeah, you are.
Say
You're
it out
old. Let's
loud.
get over it.
Not that old. Come on, man. I'm getting old.
That was like 18 years ago, bro. You'd have a kid if you had a kid.
It was just the other day. Don't
I
give
know.
me years.
Dude, I went to Purdue, and when I went there, like I was there when Drew Brees was like a red-shirted freshman. Like he was in my classes, and I'm like,
All right,
now
you
he's
beat me.
retired from the NFL. Like you really feel old then. You're like,
Yeah,
damn.
you beat me. Congratulations. You're old. But yeah, my roommate at the time and a good friend of mine was really into golf, and he kind of taught me how to play. And then like most people that get into golf, I just got into it like aggressively. I was just like really obsessed
Why?
with it really quickly. It was a lot of fun. I just dug it. I thought it was a blast. I really like just I'm kind of an outdoors type of guy. I like to be outside, and it was just so hard. And I get really competitive and determined about things. So it's like the perfect mix of being outdoors and doing something that drives you absolutely crazy that you're just obsessively trying to get better at. To this day, still obsessively trying to get better at. So I just really took to it. And then when I
You
graduated,
fell in love with it, right?
yeah,
Like most
everybody
people.
does. It's just it's a weird sport, man. It just can really capture some people, and I'm sure if most people listening to this podcast are on the same wavelength. If they're listening to something called Behind the Golf Brand, they're probably into golf. So I think a lot of people can relate.
I know, right?
But yeah, so that was college. And then when I graduated in 07, and it was really not a great time to be finding work in advertising and marketing in 2007. The economy was really, really struggling.
Garbage. It was like
And-
dead.
Yeah, it was, especially in the advertising and marketing world, like that was just not a spend most people were looking to invest in.
So how old were you? Like 22, 23, right?
Yeah,
So
about 22, I guess it was.
got out of college. There's no
yeah,
jobs.
No jobs.
Because
because
so
of-
but your degree was in marketing.
Yeah, advertising and marketing. And when I kind of stayed in Lubbock for a little bit, and then my sister at the time was living in Austin. She actually still lives in Austin, and now the whole family's relocated to Austin. But at the time, it was just her. And she kind of said, "Well, I don't think you're going to find a job in a small market like Lubbock. You probably got at least a better shot in a bigger city." And I was kind of done with school and looking to move, so I moved down to Austin. And it was actually her idea, ironically. I guess we can blame my sister for all this. It was actually her idea when I was looking for an advertising job. She said, "Well, why don't you just get a job at a golf course? Like, you're really into golf. Why don't you just do that? And, it won't be like your
Make
your
some
career."
money. It's not,
Get some
like
health
in
insurance, make
between.
some money, do your thing, right? So that's what I did. So I lived on the southwest side of town of Austin. And there was a private club called Austin Golf Club that was out in Spicewood, Texas, which is west of town. And they just randomly I saw that they had an opening for just kind of like, member support, member services. I went in, I
So
applied.
you were just cleaning clubs, in other words.
Yeah, cleaning clubs, parking cars, washing carts, picking the range, like the usual
Hey,
routine.
no, man, that's a cool with me. I do that.
And it was never like supposed to be this long-term thing. And I've been there for, a month or so. And I was talking to the pro at the time, and he was just like, "Wait, what are you doing here? Why are you just like hanging out washing carts? You got like a college degree. Like what's the deal?" Like, and I said, "Well, I kind of gave him the same story I gave you." And he's like, No, like let's get
The
you in the golf
truth.
shop."
Yeah, you're like, yeah.
He's like, no, let's get you in the golf shop. Let's kind of broaden this a little bit. Let's get you some time behind the counter. And so I did that for a while. And then he actually came to me and said, "Do you have any interest in being, like a golf pro one day?" I said, "Well, to be honest, not really. Not to knock it. It just like wasn't for
Yeah.
me." And I said, honestly,
Like go to school and do all that stuff, right?
you know,
Like
do the whole
nine
PGA
yards.
program and just become an assistant
Yeah,
professional
you don't
onto
wanna
a
do
head
that.
professional. And I said, you know, for me, I'm much more interested in the business side of golf. But on the green grass side, I am very interested in the club fitting side of things. I think that's a really cool area. As an aspiring player, someone that's trying to get better, I really appreciated the value of club fitting, and I thought that was a really cool section of the industry. And it was kind of niche, even more niche at the time. It's very mainstream now, but at the time it was something people were definitely doing, but it wasn't, you know, kind of the default, everyone's going to get fit, right? So he was like, okay, well, we've got a guy on our property that is a Titleist top 100 fitter, and why don't you roll down there and see if he needs some help? So that's when I met my good friend Ryan Chrysler, and he was on board. He goes, I'll tell you what, dude, I know you got to work 40 hours a week on the course and in the shop, but every minute you're not in the shop, I'll teach you everything I know about club fitting. So we kind of started up a little partnership together, and we tag teamed some fittings for about 3 years. So there's about a 3-year stretch where I worked about 60 hours a week, which was a lot, but it was cool because I learned a lot. And
You had a lot of fun.
it was a blast. I really enjoyed doing it. And while I was there, because it was a Titleist exclusive facility, I got to meet a lot of cool people at Titleist and make some good connections there. And then lo and behold, there was a job that popped up at Titleist at the Oceanside test facility where TPI is, and they were hiring for a product tester, and I threw my hat in the ring, and I got the nod, and, you know, moved out to California.
Why do you think you got the nod? Because you knew what you were doing and you make good relationships?
Yeah, it's an interesting role. Product testing, you got to have a really good feel for, you know, having a fitting background and a really good understanding of the golf swing is super important, because you have to understand how to interpret numbers, right? So it's really easy to just look at a screen and say, okay, it's doing X, Y, Z. But to really give valuable feedback to an R&D team, you've got to be able to, you know, discern why is the club doing what it's doing. Is this player impact? Is this, you know, is the player affecting the golf club more so one way or the other? Is it just the golf club that's causing these performance changes, things like that? So again, it kind of gets back to that really data, weird, analytical, mathematical mixed with, you know, different player types. So it was a unique position, and
Because there's factors, right? Like you can't just
Yeah.
look at the numbers and be like, oh, it's because the shaft is being weird. It's like, no, the swing was janky
Totally.
or something
Totally.
happened. Like it's not all things were equal, right?
Yeah.
And you can look at this. It's like you have to understand what's happening in the swing to be like, oh, it did this because of that, and
100%.
connect the two and be like, oh, that's actually okay because of what he did over here. or
100%.
whatever.
Yeah. And then you're testing clubs with amateur players, even better amateurs, but you know, nobody's a robot.
Consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we're
you gotta
not
be able to
Iron
kind of pick
Byron.
and choose. Right. So it was a really great position. Had a blast there. It was a whole lot of fun. I mean, when I would
So
tell
what year did you
people-
move out to California then?
That was 2011.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And that's one of those jobs where people ask you what you do, and you tell them what you do for a living, and they say one of two things. They either say there's no way that's a real job, right? Or number two, which is how can I get that job? So
Which camp are you in? essentially?
yeah. It's just everyone that I knew that played golf was kind of just like, I don't understand. Like they're paying you to watch people hit golf balls all day. It's like, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it's rich there. Yeah,
How do I get in on that? But what's funny is like kind of a little bit of backstory is when I got really into golf, you know, especially since there was the Titleist connection there with the club that I worked at. I got really interested specifically in short game and putting. Putting became kind of this big sort of pet project passion for me. So I started following the Scotty Cameron brand really closely, and met a lot of really cool people in the kind of Cameron collector circle, people that collected putters and people that were just like total putter nuts.
Heads. They're putter
Oh
heads.
yeah. And it was
Yeah.
a blast, man. I went in full bore head first. I learned everything I possibly could and talked to everybody I possibly could. And it was real passion kind of side.
So why did that interest you so much?
I really
think it's cool
loved
too.
I just love the artistry of it. I thought it was really cool that there was a brand out there taking the science of putting seriously, but integrating a lot of really like awesome artistic concept behind it. I really just thought that was unique and cool. And you know, it's kind of like an advertising marketing guy. I'm always really drawn to, you know, branding and logos and graphics and things like that. So that was sort of Scotty Cameron's awesome recipe. Was he always had these really inspiring and cool things to look at, and things that were fun to collect and talk about and be a part of. And so it was definitely this cool side project. But the reason I bring that up is because when I was working at TPI, it was right around the time that Scotty Cameron was building the fitting studio and the gallery in Encinitas. And my boss at the time came to me and he said, hey, there's probably a potential down the road that they might be looking to add some putter fitters or some staff. Is that something you'd be interested in? And I was like, yeah, for sure. Definitely. So, fast forward about a year or so, and the gallery opened down in Encinitas, and I met with the people over at the putter studio and interviewed for a job there as a putter fitter, and I got the gig. So I went from testing clubs to fitting putters. So it was kind of like this weird, like sort of dream come true, full circle deal where you go from being just reading about this stuff in golf forums and kind of get your little collection on the wall to being like working there. It's just
in it. Yeah, it's like
being right in it. It's a trip.
Yeah, right place at the right time with the right interests.
Yeah, I tell anyone in the golf business, just like anyone in I think any industry, when people are trying to get into it, it's just a whole lot of hard work and just a whole lot of luck. It's just you got to do the work, but there's just this element of just having to be in the right place at the right time and things just kind of lining up for you. Generally speaking, the harder you work, the more the opportunity for those things to line up. But there's absolutely an.
But it's also the passion and like the more hard work you do and like the interest and like having people and those people seeing you have an interest in what they do, like not like passive and it's like, oh yeah, I like what you do. It's like, no, you don't. You're just trying to get a job. Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, totally. It's true. So I was at the gallery for a while, a little over 3 years, I think. And then I moved to our corporate office with Titleist to work on fitting programs.
Did you want to do that, or did you just?
I did. Yeah, it was kind of
time.
Yeah, it was a good transition. It was kind of getting a little bit away from actual fitting and a little more into sort of business and program management, which is something I definitely have a keen interest in, and it was a good opportunity.
It's like you're learning as you go up, right? Like
totally.
Like, you literally start at like the lowest possible level you can probably start, which I think is cool. You worked in clean carts, and then you went and you did. They gave you opportunity, right? Like somebody saw that, took the time to get to know you and be like, this is not your job, right? And then they gave you an opportunity, and then you gave you opportunity, and it's like because you were interested in what you were doing, but you would never thought 15 years ago that you would ever be doing this job.
No, it's awesome. And, I had a lot of really great friends, still do at Titleist, really supportive group of people that gave me some great opportunities and helped me get to where I am today, and very appreciative of that. And then I landed myself over here at Fujikura about 6 months ago, and I'm having the time of my life.
So with Titleist, let me ask this question to you because I don't really know. So like they just use other people's shafts, right? Like we all know that. They don't make their own shaft. Like
correct.
You have to use whomever, right?
Correct.
Fujikura, Acura, whoever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then how'd you get on over to Fujikura?
Well, there was a really unique job opening actually, and what's you make a good point about OEMs, right? They are somewhat dependent on shaft companies to produce their shafts for them. Some may do some designs themselves, but a lot of that is assisted by the shaft industry. And what's
Japanese companies do that, don't they?
Yeah, sometimes.
Like Hanma makes her own shaft.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
What's interesting to me about it, to be honest with you, is I'd been on the club side of the business, like the golf clubs side, in so many capacities for so long. What I find really fascinating about shafts and that sort of component space in general is that golf clubs are relatively constrained by legal limits, right? There's things that you just cannot do anymore with a golf club. There's parameters.
No, there's 100%.
You just can't do it. So
you can make a different color.
Yeah. And to the OEM's credit, like to the engineering team's credit, like they are able to find these kind of cool new ways to stay
1%, 2%, cool way,
and be
new
innovative,
technologies, new
metals, new whatever it is. And
so interesting.
And so in the shaft world, we're not nearly as constrained. And so
can I tell you my opinion on shafts?
Sure.
I feel like shafts are the redheaded stepchild. That's what I think.
There's a little bit of that.
No, for real. I love shafts, right? Like, I made a conscious effort when I first started doing this. I'm like, I want to work with shaft brands because I think they make cool stuff. They don't get the respect they deserve, right? They're just like, oh, it's a shaft that goes in the club. But it's like, yeah, but this plays like so many different roles. Like, this is just as important as the head, right?
Yeah,
and then
we're able to, we're able to sort of pick up in some ways where the golf club leaves off, right? So I think in the future there will be more and more kind of dependency or leaning on shafts to help with overall club performance,
pushing the performance because they've hit a wall. They're like, we can't do any more. We can paint it. That's about it.
And look, there's an awesome material breakthrough. There's an awesome something just around the corner that's probably just waiting to be unlocked. So that's not a hard and fast rule to say that, they're maxed out. They'll always figure out cool new ways to innovate. But it's also cool on our side to be able to support that and sort of help drive the overall performance of the golf club, because, our product does not work without a head, and their product does not work without a shaft. So they have to go together to form a complete club. So the more that we can optimize that relationship, the better. And we've started to see, a lot of gains with a product like Ventus, where you just really start to see that a shaft can make a difference and does make a difference and can make people that much better. And it's really exciting to see. I love it personally.
I mean, I've always loved shafts. I don't know why. I just think there's so many factors in a golf club, and it's not just the head. I mean, the thing is too, when you buy new drivers, it's like, okay, now you get to pick, right? Like, oh, what shaft do you want, right? From the plethora of shafts that company provides, essentially. But it's still like, I don't think people fully understand like how important the shaft is, and like, it's not just like, oh, it's a cool color, right, or a cool name. It's more like the performance of the shaft.
I mean, I can tell you, even being in it, I've been in the golf business, been around golf clubs a long time, even just being at Fujikura and seeing what really goes into it and how it's really done. I mean, it surprised even me. And I thought I was pretty familiar with things. And I was still very like, wow, seriously? We're doing this? Like, cool.
So, it's like, it blows your mind. And you're like, whoa.
It really does. There's an amazing amount of tech and research in a Fujikura shaft. It's really something special. And I came from the fitting days where it was back when shafts were basically like, what color do you like and how much do you want to spend, right? That was kind of that was literally a shaft fitting. And so to see where the industry has gone and the attention that's given to shaft fitting, and what it can really do to make players better, it's really inspiring. It makes me excited for the future, and makes me excited for players to get their hands on our products.
So what shafts are you most excited about at Fujikura then? Like what's coming? Not so much what's coming out, but like which ones are like, oh yeah, these are really cool. You know?
You know what? I'm gonna be such a brand hero and brand fan right now.
I love them all.
Yeah, we don't make anything bad. We just don't do it. We're not gonna put our name on something that isn't really good. And we have different, price points too. I think that's important to realize also that you can get a really high quality Fujikura high performance golf shaft, and it doesn't have to be a $350 Ventus. We go all the way down to our Vista Pro line and everything in between. The Speeder products are really good. Motori X is a phenomenal shaft. Ventus and all of its profiles is amazing. Vista Pro is a club fitter's dream. We've got a little something for everyone. So from a product perspective, that's one of my favorite things, is that we can run the range and everything is good, and we're not going to make anything that's not going to perform at any level. So, what's really cool right now, I mean, obviously we're super psyched about Ventus and the new Ventus TR. It's doing incredibly well, lots of early adoption, which is great to see. And the thing I always talk about with Ventus is, you sort of, anytime you launch a new product for anybody, you get some initial months of just buzz and excitement, right? It's a new product. Everybody wants to try it. Everybody wants to give it a shot. But I think what the most powerful story of Ventus is that it would not sustain its popularity if it didn't continually perform, right? So at this point, 3 years in, we're long past it's just a cool new thing to try phase. And we are deep in we see it really helping players be better. We see it performing every single fitting. We see it performing on tour every week. And so that really is this awesome testament to what an impressive shaft it really is. that it's not just kind of some fancy new thing that caught on, that it really is a revolutionary, piece of equipment, and we're thrilled to have our name on it. And I get the butterflies when I see the little Ventus stripes on the tee box on Sunday afternoon golf. It's awesome. Go walk the range at a tour event, and it's it'll make you.
Yeah,
smile.
you're like I'm with that. I mean, it's always exciting when you see that, right? When you're like, whoa, these guys are actually using it, like for a reason to win, not because.
Exactly.
I don't know. This is a dumb question, but I don't know the answer. Do shaft companies sponsor players, or is it mainly just
We don't.
head companies?
We don't.
I guess OEMs. I guess.
Yeah, we don't. That's at a player's discretion, which again is just such a cool thing to see that
They chose that.
They chose it, right? I mean, that's just even more impactful. So there's always.
Is that industry wide? I don't know. I'm not trying to sound ignorant.
I couldn't really say. I couldn't really
don't
say
know.
full industry. Can kind of only speak to our own stuff, but
yeah.
It's really cool to see somebody that has the opportunity to try really whatever they want, and the best players in the world, that's what they pick. I mean, that makes you feel good. Makes you feel good about what you're doing.
So this year, I mean, the new Ventus came out, right? The TR.
Yeah.
Like, when did that come out? That came out
It was
recently.
February. Went on
like
tour in January and came out retail Feb 1.
Who's using it on tour? Do you know?
Jordan Spieth has it in the fairway wood right now. We got a lot of guys testing it. It's sort of that initial first few months. It's just, it's kind of the way the tour works. It takes a little time to seed things and get things going. But I expect we'll have some pretty good adoption rate, certainly as the season starts taking off, because there's been a lot of interest and there's been a lot of testing. And, at that level, they're going to put it through the paces before they commit. But we've got it in the conversation with a lot of players, and they're excited to try it. And we're excited to hear their thoughts. So it's going to be good.
You know what I love? I love how you are on the video for the Ventus shaft. When you click on it, and it's you talking, and I'm like, oh, look at that.
Yeah, look at that.
You're a movie star.
I'm just some dude that likes golf. That's all I am. Trust me.
So, I mean, what, in your opinion, like what shaft would you use in your bag right now? Are you using all Fujikura shafts in your bag? Or only
come on,
driver,
Paul, is that a
hybrid?
real question? You really going to ask that question? Yeah, of course I am.
Which one? But which ones? I want to know which ones that you like personally for your bag.
I like to run the gambit. I'll be honest with you. I've got Ventus in the hybrid. I've got our MCI graphite irons and wedge shafts.
Nice.
Right now, I've got TR in the driver, and I've got Speeder NX in the fairway wood. So I've got it.
Yeah, I'd be like a kid in a candy store. Like, seriously, if I worked there. That's what I would be like. I would just, I would literally have, it would be like a bunch of jelly beans everywhere. I'd be grabbing all of them.
It's, I mean, you can kind of see this, our wall of kind of fitting shafts. It's, I always jokingly refer to it as going shopping. You'll kind of see you'll see the crew kind of around, 2:00 on Friday, just do a little shopping. Like, I'm going to try something a little different this weekend. I might try this, try that.
Do you get to do that, really?
Yeah, I mean, take it out for a round of golf, and as long as you bring it back on Monday, right? As long as we don't have a fitting and go to reach
you
for
take it for a test drive, and then you're like,
yeah,
you bring it back.
Sometimes the test drive gets a little long in the tooth, and we have to, track things down. But that's very rare. But it's just one of the cool perks of being here. It's a lot of fun.
So how big is Fujikura's team here in the United States?
We only have about 25 people at the U.S. team.
And they all in California?
Everyone. They are, yeah. That includes everybody, including our technicians in the back. So it's a small team, which is awesome. We're kind of a big family. Everybody sees each other every day. Our president says hi to everybody on the way in every morning and bye on the way out. So it's a very close-knit group. Very open air, open office.
You love it? Are you like so happy there?
Dude, it's great. People are great. Product's great. Golf is booming.
I mean, it's a very well respected brand. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you say Fujikura, like, oh, that's a good shaft. Like, everybody says that, and I'm not just saying it like.
Yeah, I mean, we've worked really hard to do that. I'll tell you.
It takes a lot of work, and it's about your quality, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it is. It is. It's a testament to really being adamant about putting out the best product we can at all times. I'll kind of tell you a funny Fujikura story. So when I was getting into golf, the friend of mine that got me involved was a really good high school player. and he was really good all the way into college. And he finally cracked his driver. And I think he had like an old Titleist, 983K or something. He finally cracked the face, and warranties and repairs said, we'll send you a replacement. We'll send you whatever the most current model is. What shaft do you want in it? And keep in mind, I'm relatively new to golf at this time. And he goes, well, what do you have from Fujikura? He said, well, we've got this Speeder 757. He goes, okay, I want that in the heaviest weight you've got in an X-Flex. And this is back with bore-through heads. So an X-Flex is, that's just rebar, right?
Yeah.
So he gets the club in, we take it to the golf course, and he's just pounding this thing. Just smashing drives. And around like the fourth or fifth tee, he kind of starts doing the grunt. He's going like, after he hits like, dude, you good? He's like, man, I feel like my back's about to blow out. I was just like, why are you playing the shaft? And he looks me dead in the eyes. He's like, it's Fuji, bro. It's the best. And now, how ironic, that I'm on the other side of it now. And we were actually talking about that story the other day. And a similar thing happened with Scotty Cameron. My roommate in college had a Scotty Cameron putter. And he was like, oh, yeah, I worked at this golf course in high school. And this head pro gave it to me as a graduation gift. And,
that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
The yellow head cover on it, old studio design putter.
Oh,
I don't know what I'm looking at. And he was like, yeah,
you're like, that's cool looking putter, whatever.
He was like, this is like a $250 putter. And I was just like, that is insane. Who's going to spend $250 on a putter? And fast forward, like 10 years later, I'm standing in the gallery surrounded by putters that are, $10,000, $15,000. So it's a trip how things work out, right?
Well, I think it's cool because you went from, I don't know, like you worked with all cool brands. They're actually doing things that are.
I've been really fortunate, man. I've been very.
Yeah, but that's a testament to you, though, too. Like it's not all luck. It's more like people saw something in you. You loved their product. You wanted to learn more about it. They gave you opportunity. And it's just I don't know. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I've been. I can't. I hope I never have to, but I can't really imagine having to do marketing or sales or anything for a brand.
Doing marketing like Xerox or something.
Yeah, it's just,
a benign thing.
I don't want to knock it. But it's just to me that would just seem really challenging. Like I'm very.
So when you were in college and you had your marketing degree, like what did you like marketing wise? Like what did you think honestly? Because I could tell you what I thought when I was in college. What I thought I was going to do.
I thought I'd be an agency guy. I thought I'd be an ad agency guy. I thought I'd graduate and
like Mad Men.
Yeah, and that was before Mad Men too, and I still thought it was cool. But and I have friends that have run the agency life, and
they hate it.
They're not huge fans of it. I got a couple that have made their way, sort of clawed their way to a position where they can have some stability and some comfort, and they like that.
It's like being a lawyer, dude. It's like it's like for real. It's like it sounds all pie in the sky, right? Like, oh, I'm making crazy money, and it's no, man. It's like it's a grind.
Well, I, like everybody else in college, thought maybe I should go to law school, and that's why my degrees in marketing, advertising, and my minors in political science. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to go to law school, and then about halfway, I was like, nah, I'm probably not going to do that. So, got to find something different.
Dude, I went to school to become a pilot. And I went and became a pilot for a while, and then I went to law school. Like, if you'd asked me during college, "Oh, would you become a lawyer?" I'm like, no way. Why would I ever do that?
Yeah.
But
pilot to attorney—that's an interesting switch.
To a guy with a golf podcast, weird.
But I guess it's no more weird than advertising degree to washing golf carts. So we all have our weird journeys, right?
Dude, I used to work at airports and like wash airplanes, so I know what that's like.
Okay,
yeah, I was the what I call myself. My title was the shop bitch. That's what I was, and I would like
you have that on a business card or like a name tag.
I should have had that. Like, I remember I had like and all these. I worked for all these mechanics, right? So, like it was just in a big shop. It was hot, Phoenix, nasty hot summer, and I was literally the shop bitch. And they would F with me. They would like my dad was to clean the floors and stuff like that, and I would sweep and whatever. And then they would like this one guy, man. I called him the one-eyed Fuck. That's what I called him. He really had one eye. He really had one eye.
Terminology for your time.
But that's what he was. And it's like that's what everybody called him because he's all nasty and mean. And so like I would sweep and whatever, and I go, and then he was head of everybody, and then he would purposely like spill oil like by the airplane and be like, "Oh, you missed a spot," like, and start yelling at me, and I'm like, "Did you just freaking really do that?" And then, but this is a good story. So then he was like. I hated my job. I don't even need this job. I was in college. I was like, did it for the summer. I was getting flight lessons at the place next door. I was like, I just need some. I'm at the airport all day. Might as well stay here and do some work. It was hot. It was, So then like one day we're at the side of the shop, right? And I was cleaning parts or something. And he's like, this is a golf story. I'm going to this will come back to golf. So he's like, oh, and I'm like, I hate this guy. No, I hate this dude. And so, and he looked like a pirate for reals. But no patch. It was gross. And, he looked like One-Eyed Willie in, Goonies when he took the thing up. That's what it looked like.
Yeah. Just a
So
little solid.
yeah, nasty. So then like nothing against people with one eye, just saying. But so I was like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Because I'm trying to make small talk. And he's like, I'm golfing. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, I'm going golfing. I'm like, he starts talking to me about golf. And I was like, oh, I play golf too. And he's like, wait, really? Because I guess kind of like you, right? When someone sees like potential, he's like, really? You play golf? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, and he's like, well, why? And he thought I was some kind of punk ass kid, working there forever, right? And I said, no, I'm in college, dude. Like, this is like, I'm gonna be out here in 6 weeks, And then when he realized that, he was like, and everyone was afraid of this guy. He goes, he took him under his wing, like right away,
Really?
and like, cause I was a normal guy, I played golf, young kid. I wasn't good, whatever. But like, then he took me under his wing and he started teaching me stuff, and I quit having to be the shop bitch after that. Like, everyone just knew not to mess with me. So that's what I think of you, with you cleaning carts, right? Like, oh, I mean, it wasn't that bad, I guess, but
Yeah.
you're at a country club.
Yeah, nobody was spilling oil that I had to clean up, so it wasn't that bad. It was just, hosing off carts. It wasn't that bad.
Oh man, that job was nasty. Not my job was nasty. Yours, I probably could handle it. Maybe. So, with the Ventus, like, how long has the Ventus been out? I forget, like, for a while,
Ventus
right?
Blue is running on close to 3 years now, and then we added the red and the black about a year into its launch. So it's been.
What do the colors mean? When you say red and black and blue,
Yeah, so
does that mean anything?
It does. We kind of it's an easy system for both fitters and players to kind of understand launch characteristics. So
that's cool.
The blue is
I
in the
never knew
middle. It's sort of like a mid launch, mid spin. The black profile is a low launch, low spin, and the red profile is kind of like that mid to high launch, mid spin. So it just kind of it's an easy identifier for players to sort of steer them.
Know right away what the guy
exactly.
is using
Exactly.
and why he uses this. I never knew that. I had no
Yeah.
idea. Like, I mean, I know but when you add, I'm not trying to sound dumb. I'm just like wanting to educate people.
These are good questions. You're not
Because I don't
they're good
know.
questions.
Honestly, I'm not a shaft person. I mean, I like shafts, but like, so what the TR? What does the TR mean?
So the TR sort of just fits in between blue and black. That's essentially, if you're just talking about like from a fitting perspective, where it falls in the line. It's a little lower launching and spinning than a blue profile, but not quite as low as black.
It's like an in between.
Exactly. And that's kind of just the way it played out a little bit. So anytime we're going to do a new product, we sort of have a little bit of a 3-step system of what we go through in new product development. And the first piece of that is always soliciting feedback. So that feedback is going to come from our best fitters, from consumers, from PGA Tour players, from our charter dealers. And we kind of take a part that's really successful and we say, okay, if you were going to make any changes to this, what would you maybe want to see? And that's kind of where the system behind me with Enzo comes into play. Is we've just got.
How does Enzo work? Because that's really cool.
Yeah, so we've got thousands upon thousands upon thousands of combinations of what shafts can do during the golf swing, and Enzo Analytics is just it's this very deep well that we continually add to, that can show us what different performance features in a shaft can really do during a golf swing. So when we take feedback from a group of players or a group of fitters or whatever it is, and they say, well, we might like to see it do this, this, and this, maybe it feels a little different here, it launches a little different here. We can actually, run that scenario through Enzo Analytics and say, well, we've done something similar to that, and here's what it would likely produce as far as performance. And so we're really able to sort of fast track our R&D and make our R&D much, much more accurate versus making a bunch of prototypes, kind of throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks. We can be really analytical and say, if we make these changes, if we try this design change, if we do this, this, and this, these are likely the results it will produce. And if we see something that we like and we see something that can work, we'll build it right here in the back of our shop. We'll prototype it. We test it to death with players of all skill levels. And if it does what we want it to do, then we brand it and it comes to market. So that's a little bit where Ventus TR came from. Was
it almost like speeds up the process? It's not like
yeah,
this huge,
it's a very
yeah.
pinpointed approach. It's very much a rifle and not a shotgun. We're really, targeting very specific things and achieving them. But that's kind of where TR came from. Was some of the feedback that we received was, well, we really like this sort of mid-launch, mid-spin profile. It's just a little soft in the handle section. It's just a little forgiving in the handle section. And when I move into a black profile, it's just a little too stout, because when you move into profiles like a Ventus Black, you're almost gearing it towards players that really don't want to have a lot of load and feel in the golf swing. They just basically want this really stout piece of rebar to hang with them as they just, knock it out of the park. And so we kind of took that feedback. We go back to Enzo Analytics and we find, all right, when we're slowing these golf swings down to thousands of frames per second, we see that the transition from the top of the golf swing into the downswing is an area where the shaft takes on a lot of stress, not just with people with really quick transition, but any speed. Anytime that motion is changing direction, the shaft takes on additional stress. And we sort of pinpointed it. We said, well, in looking at analytics in that mid to handle section, that's really where the shaft takes on the most of that stress. And so if we can do something to reinforce that area, and we can eliminate any sort of unnecessary twist or unnecessary bending in that section, then we can make a shaft that's that much more stable. And that's really where that Ventus TR, we integrate that spread toe material, in the handle to upper midsection of the shaft. And what that does is, it bumps the torsional stiffness in that section. If you measured it against Ventus Blue, it jumps at about 10%, which is quite a bit. And now we're looking at a profile that has the same VeloCore technology, which has incredible stability. And we've sort of enhanced that technology that much more by integrating this ultra high modulus custom fabric to another section of the shaft. And we've just made a part that's that much more stable overall. And we achieve all the benefits we wanted. We stiffened up the handle section a little bit. We lowered the launch, lowered the spin a little bit. And so all these things are not just sort of happenstance of, what would happen if we just kind of did this? Like, our design engineering team, best in the business, incredibly smart, incredibly talented, incredibly innovative. But this is, years in the making. Enzo's 10 years old. It takes so much time to get these things to a place where we can really just make
use
these
it.
targeted decisions. Yeah, and that's what's so cool about where we're at right now as a company is, we are really firing on all cylinders, and we are just making some great product and some really purpose-driven product. And the other thing to be cognizant of is everything that we make, there needs to be a player benefit. We could make all kinds of crazy stuff just for the sake of doing it. We could use wild exotic materials just to say we did it. But if we can't pinpoint that to player improvement, it's really not a road we go down. So that is at the heart and soul of what we do. And also, I've heard this from people before, be like, well, I don't really play Fujikura stuff. I'm not a good player, or I don't really swing that hard, so I can't really play Fujikura product. And it's just not true, because any technology that we add into a product, we are very conscious of the fact that it needs to perform not just for the best players in the world, but it needs to be a technology that's applicable to everybody. And it needs to be able to help everybody at any speed or any skill level. So if anyone out there is gun shy to try Fuji, thinking like, it's just only for the better players, like, trust me, we've got an arsenal of amazing product that can cater to literally anyone. And I
think that's the education part, right? Like, I feel like people don't understand about shafts. Like, I mean, gearheads do, and people that have been fitted kind of do. Right. And they start realizing that there's all of these factors that play into your shot, right? Into your swing. But like, then they say like, oh, that shaft's X dollars. Oh, that's on my budget. And it's like, well, really, is it? Because I mean, is it really? Because I mean, it's like you can get the whatever competitor version might be a little bit cheaper, but it's like that is quality. Like, I don't know. Like when I was a kid, my dad used to always like give me a hard time and be like, oh, you always need the Cadillac version of everything. And I'm like, no, I just want to buy something that's like, that's going to last. That's really good. Sure. I don't have to worry about it. Like, doesn't anybody, like everybody do that? Like, I mean,
I think in the last even 5 years, you've seen just such a swell in interest of the game as far as people willing to invest in their equipment, which is just really awesome to see. It's not necessarily this thing where it's just everyone's trying to spend as much as they can, but you're really seeing people take a dedicated interest. And I use that as a backup to your point. It's like, well, golf is something I'm passionate about. It's something I like to do, and I would like to pay a little bit more to get the best product that I can.
It's performance. It's not
as long as it works.
Like I'm getting fitted right now, and to me, it's not about how pretty your clubs are, right? Oh, you have pretty clubs in your bag, like with custom bullshit, and paint and whatever on it, like whatever, like it's like, can you use it? Is it going to help you get better? Is
Sure.
it, or just like when you're playing golf with a bunch of people and you play like crap and you have nice clubs, it's like, well, not nice, but like pretty nice, right? It's almost like it's about the performance of the shaft or the performance of the club, and I think people,
I agree.
People come into the game, especially in the last couple of years, people come into the game, they don't know what to buy, right? They have no idea, and they're just coming kind of word of mouth or what they can afford. But like as you really start doing the research, it's like certain brands stand out. Fujikura being one of them. That like, if you want to better your shot, really, you get what you pay for. And I mean, you guys' reputation's phenomenal. I mean, Fujikura.
Well, that's very kind of you to say, and that's really good to hear, because that's definitely something that's important to us. And you make an excellent point. It's and this is a testament to the club industry overall, is that there's so many options right now for players of all skill levels. And it used to just kind of be, you either had players irons or these big chunky game improvement irons, and that was it. And now there's just a myriad of options, from top to bottom, that kind of suit all players. So it's an exciting time to be in golf on the equipment side. For me, it's a very exciting time to be on the component side. I love where we're going and what we're doing with shafts. I think it's awesome. I couldn't be more proud of the work that we're putting out, and the benefit of being here and working behind the ropes is I see the things that are coming in the future years, and it gets me even more excited.
You probably see stuff right now. It's happening, and you're like, "Man, this is gonna be cool when this comes out."
Yeah, and it's and you get that vibe in the office too. We
excitement.
We're working on some cool stuff, and the pulse is kind of racing around the office, and that's just such a cool thing to see.
Well, I'm a fan. I've always been a fan. I've been working with you guys for a long time. I think you guys make phenomenal shafts. So I guess my last question to you is, if somebody wants a Fujikura shaft, like how do they go about doing that?
So we've got over 600 charter dealers in the U.S. That fit and sell Fujikura shafts, and you can actually find them on our website. There's a dealer locator. Just type in your zip code; it'll tell you where the nearest dealer is to you. Now, this is both something that we say as a company, but as an old school diehard fitter, just get fit for your product. I can't encourage it enough, and I think people now are just much more open to that idea. But there's so many places to get fit, and we've got such.
It's affordable. It's
totally.
I mean, seriously,
and it's worth it. Even if there's a fee for it, it's worth it. And we've got such an incredible group of charter dealers. Our charter dealer network, just excellent people that provide excellent fitting services and business services. And so there's just so many ways that you can get your hands on Fujikura product in the right ways.
Don't just go buy. You can just buy it online if you want, and then put it in yourself. Or if it's like, why don't you get fitted for it so that it's the right shaft. Don't just get a Fujikura shaft. Like, get the right shaft that's actually going to help you as a Fujikura.
Totally.
Like,
and
that's two
different. But questions. That's absolutely the best bet. Just go to a dealer locator, FujikuraGolf.com. Type in your zip code, find somebody near you. They'll get you squared away.
I guess my last question for you is there some new stuff coming out soon? Like, I should get excited about.
Paul, there's always new stuff.
Any new launches in the next 6 months? You don't say what it's called. You don't say what it's called. Be like, yeah, there's some new stuff coming out. You can just say that.
Let's see how politically I can answer this question.
Yes.
We've got some exciting things planned for the future.
The future being in this year, or the future being like sometime in the next millennia?
Yes to both.
Okay. That's funny.
Definitely to the second one, yeah. The next millennia for sure.
Well, I think it's great. I really appreciate you being on the show today. You guys need to check out Fujikura shafts. They're amazing. And what was the website again if they want to just do more research on the different types of Fujikura shafts? The Fujikura Golf?
FujikuraGolf.com.
Cool.
We got everything up there for you.
Awesome. Well, I will see you guys in the next episode.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Behind the Golf Brand Podcast.
You're gonna beat me at golf?
Stay connected on and off the show by visiting golfersauthority.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
Golf is always more fun when you win.
Stay out of the beach and see you on the green.